Okay, we are live, and I got the microphone off this time. We ready?
All right. The meeting will now come to order. Welcome to the November 19th, 2020 meeting of the Durham County Board of Equalization and Review. My name is David Smith, and I'm the chair of the board. I would like to start by acknowledging that we are conducting this meeting using a remote electronic platform as permitted by Session Law 2020-3. The Board of Equalization and Review is a quasi-judicial body that is governed by the North Carolina General Statutes. The board conducts evidentiary hearings on appeals from appraised, real, and personal property tax valuation. Today's meeting will proceed much like an in-person meeting of the Board of Equalization and Review. On the screen, you will see the members of the Board of Equalization and Review. Additionally, tax staff and representatives from the county attorney's offices may be present in the remote meeting. Appellates and their witnesses, if any, were required to register in advance and are also attending the remote meeting. When a case is called for its hearing, speakers will be prompted within the remote platform so their video can be seen. The chair will swear in applicants and witnesses at the beginning of each case. Staff will present each case and applicants will then provide their evidence. Control of the presentation and screen sharing will remain with the tax staff. Today's meeting is being broadcast live on the county's YouTube site, and a link to this broadcast is on the website for the Board of Equalization and Review. Before we begin the evidentiary hearings on today's agenda, I would like to provide some important information about the steps taken to ensure that each party's due process rights are protected as we proceed in this remote platform. Each applicant on today's agenda was notified that this meeting would be conducted using a remote electronic platform. During registration, every applicant on today's agenda consented to the board conducting the evidentiary hearing using this remote platform. We will also confirm today at the start of each evidentiary hearing that the participants in the evidentiary hearing consent to the matter proceeding in this remote platform. If there's any objection to a matter proceeding in this remote platform, the case will be continued. Notice of today's meeting was provided by publishing notice in the newspaper and by mail to the applicant. The newspaper notices for today's meeting contain information on how the public can access the remote meeting as the meeting occurs. These notices also contain information about the registration requirement for the meeting, along with information on how to register. All applicants participating in today's evidentiary hearings were also required to submit a copy of any presentation, document, exhibit, or other material that they wish to submit at the evidentiary hearing prior to today's meeting. No new documents will be submitted during today's meeting. All decisions of this board are subject to appeal to the North Carolina Property Tax Commission. Okay, well, let's proceed with the meeting. The first thing we have on the agenda is the consent agenda, and that is items 1 through 4. If I could have a motion on those items, please.
So move to present as presented. This is Wendell.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, let's move on to the to Amanda Markle. You've got some exemptions and late exclusions. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Let me get you sworn in, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
State your name and position, please.
Amanda Markle, Division Manager over Individual Personal Property and Land Records.
Okay, and so what have you got for us on these next cases?
So items number 5 through 11 on the agenda are applications that were submitted untimely for the disabled veteran exclusion and the elderly exclusion. They meet all qualifications with the exception of the late application. So we are asking that the board accept these applications.
Okay, any discussion from the board? Then I'll entertain a motion regarding items 5 through 11.
Move that we accept items 5 through 11 as timely.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let's move on to item 14. I see the Neptunes are here. Is that how you pronounce your name? You need to turn your mic on, please.
Got it.
Okay, I need to get you all sworn in too. If you will raise your right hands, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
State your names, please.
Douglas Neptune.
Patricia Neptune.
And you are the owners of this property on Pulitzer Lane, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and are you comfortable using this Zoom format?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, well, we'll come back to you. We'll hear from the county appraiser, and then we'll come back to you, okay?
Okay.
And I see that Albert is listed here. Is he back yet, or will somebody be filming?
Jamin is doing it.
It would be me, sir.
Jamin, okay. All right, Jamin, let's get you sworn in also. You raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, sir.
Yeah, there's your video. Okay. State your name and position with the county, please.
Jamin Gaddy. I am the real property supervisor for residential properties.
All right. What do you have for us on this one?
This one, what happened? Well, what I can trying to backtrack Albert's trail a little bit. The original value went out at like $377,074. But Mr. and Ms. Neptune brought it to our attention that the square footage and the number of bedrooms were listed incorrectly. So from what I can tell, Albert went back in, corrected the bedroom count, and corrected the square footage, and the revised value at that time was $367,124. But this morning, trying to get a feel for it myself, I actually pulled the original plans, and I also looked at some documentation that Mr. Neptune had supplied, and we still were not quite accurate. The extension on the back of the house is a solar room. We were still listing it as main living area. So I went back in and resketched the property to recognize that solar room in the back. And by doing so, the value decreased a little bit more down to $365,382. So as of right now, according to house plans, according to taxpayers' concerns, I feel pretty accurate that it's good where it's at, and for that reason, we're requesting that the revised value of $365,382 be upheld.
Can you pull up your comparables that you used for this one?
Tim, that would be on you, sir.
Hey, morning. Do you know which ones they're named? Like what the name of the file is for that one? I see owners comps, owner selected comps.
Let's see, I'm going to have to get back in it because the other appeal was actually listed first, so I had everything pulled up for that one. But just to make note that the actual purchase price supports the value, because the purchase of this property was $388,500 back in 2016, and we're actually under that value. But let me see what Albert had.
Okay.
Tim, is there one that's got like a date on it of October-ish? Do you see that one? At the very top, well, actually, I'm sorry. Yes, the very top is the only thing that I see that's got Albert's name, 7/29/2020, those comps.
Okay, yeah, I see them.
Okay, so I'm seeing the tax value was 166 a square foot, and the comparables you have 180, 167, and 172. Is that correct, Jamin?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying that Albert has pulled.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Now it's your turn, Mr. and Mrs. Neptune. I guess you've seen the information from the county appraiser. What comments do you all have?
I'm looking at the comps that you just brought up, and those are our information is incorrect. Our square footage is still listed at 2339, and that's incorrect.
Yes, ma'am. And the reason being is these comps were actually put into the system prior to Albert making his changes, and then prior to me making the final adjustment with the sunroom. So yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, it's just because of the date they were put into the system.
Did y'all get this that we sent in to you with all of the comps that we researched for hours and hours?
We did. I actually looked at it this morning, and that's where I noticed that you guys have listed or had it to where a part of the house had the sunroom. So that's why I went back in and started looking at the house plans and resketched it to reflect that sunroom that you guys have out back versus it being main living area.
Tim, can you pull up the information that they supplied? Looks as if
Yes, when we pull up houses with the same square footage, there it is.
Right.
When we pull up houses with the same or similar square footage, there seems to be no rhyme or reason for the market value. The one directly below us, that is market value of 332, is the identical house 3 houses down. And when I say identical, it's identical. We've been in it. They've been in ours. The same elevation outside, the same exact model.
Which one is this you're talking about? What's the address?
Line number 3, 1339 Pulitzer.
Okay.
And it's listed also with a sunroom.
And it sold for $383,500. Is that correct?
Correct.
And
we paid an additional $15,000 for a wooded view. I know everybody paid lot premiums, but we paid for a wooded view. And the other pictures that we've supplied there are pictures of our wooded view that was, it's now a big view of apartments.
Well, I'm just curious, the value that you paid for it 2 years ago is
4 years ago, sir. 4 years ago.
I'm sorry. Well, it's 3 years since the valuation time.
Gotcha.
Is higher than the value that the county has valued the property for. So,
correct.
I'm trying to understand what's happened. Is you think your property value has gone down? It's very close.
Well, if you look at everything we've listed, all the property market values are lower than the purchase price of all the houses. And we just don't understand the rhyme or reason for the market values. It looks like they're totally random for almost identical square footage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're questioning.
Okay.
We're not questioning you to bring it down well, let me, Doug's got something he would like to say.
Well, I don't have the formulas that you use. I have hopefully the same comps. I only used comparisons of this model house, and there are some variety of additions that you can do to this house. But I just used it on a percentage-wise of the purchase price, and the assigned value ranges between 85.2% and 94.5% of that purchase price. So I don't understand the formulations that give you that assessed value price.
Okay, Mr. Gaddy, can you help us out with that?
Well, if we concentrate on the identical house, because it seems like that may be the highest concern, and Miss Neptune, you guys correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct.
We have found there is a group of homes that we have found that the assessment is incorrect. And unfortunately, that the 1339 Pulitzer property that you have here is one of those homes. You guys are actually assessed correctly. That house is actually under assessed, and we do have plans in place to make those corrections to that property, which will increase that value.
Okay.
We didn't know about this until we started researching some of these appeals, but it's not that you guys are incorrect. It's that the other house currently is incorrect, and there are plans in place to make those corrections.
Okay.
Well,
can I also suggest 1515 Anthology?
look into that house too, because it's exactly our house, and it looks like they had the same measurement problem that we had, where it was based on 3 bedrooms and it's really 2 bedrooms. We have a window in the garage that makes it appear from the outside that looks like a bedroom, and it's not.
Right, right.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Board members, do you have any questions?
No.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Then I'll entertain a motion on number 14.
I move that we accept the adjusted value of the county, 365, 382.
Do I have a second?
Second, Jeanette.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we're going to stick with their lower value. If you want to, if you're still not satisfied, you can appeal this to the state of North Carolina. But it looks like they're going to correct the concerns that you had. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And we thank Colleen Moore as well, because she was instrumental in getting all this going, because we had heard nothing. And will we be receiving a new tax bill then?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time. We appreciate it.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am. Y'all have a good day.
Okay.
You
Bye.
too.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Likewise.
Okay, Sheila, do we have anybody else who have 12 or 13? Are they here?
Just a second.
We have Mr. Gilbert Oakley here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Number 13. Okay. All right. Mr. Gaddy, are you going to do this one also?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is Mr. Oakley on yet?
Mr. Oakley, will you unmute, please? Thank you.
Mr. Oakley.
Okay. How's that?
Mr. Oakley, can you hear me?
Yes. You can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, there you are. Sir, the first thing I need to do is get you sworn in, please. If you will
Okay.
raise your right hand.
All right.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Are you comfortable using this format, this Zoom format for your appeal?
Yes.
Are you the owner of this property on Havenwood Lane?
Havenwood, 1105 Havenwood Lane. Yes, I'm the owner.
Okay. All right. If you'll wait just a minute, we'll hear from the county and then we'll come back to you. All right.
Okay.
Mr. Gaddy has already been sworn in. If you would please state your name and position.
Jamin Gaddy, real property supervisor for the residential side.
Okay.
This property was appealed. The original value that was appealed was $536,783. And the reason for the appeal appears to be square footage. Albert has gone in since then and made changes. The square footage started at 2658, and currently the square footage is 2535, which brought the value down to 523,411. And so it is the county's opinion we are requesting that the value of 523,411 be upheld.
And these comparables, you're showing a square foot value of the subject of 181 and over 200 from the comparables. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is the comps that Albert had pulled.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Oakley, it's your turn. We need to know what you think the property is worth and how you came up with your value.
Okay. The square footage of my house is listed by Epcon and all their promotional material as 2,468 square feet. So that was the basis of my appeal, was to re-look at that square footage, and that has been done. Albert did come out and remeasure, and he talked about some back of the envelope calculations, but I have not received any word on what the final calculation was.
Mr. Gaddy, can you help him out?
Well, yes, the final calculation is the 523,411, and it may be that he didn't get back in touch because he had some emergency reasons that he had to actually go back home. He had to leave the country for a while. So that may be the reason that he didn't get a chance to get back with Mr. O.
Okay. So what did he come up with for square footage, please?
This is what's in the system. The dates that he actually made the change, I did not research that. I do not know without further research.
Okay. Well, when he came out, he had already adjusted the square footage from the original to 2,535 square feet.
Right, sir.
And he came out and measured, and his back of the envelope stuff, he just said, he said, and he didn't give me an actual figure, but he said it was very close to the Epcon square footage, 2,468. I'm concerned now, I guess, that he may have had to leave the country before he actually updated that.
Well, now I do, well, just kind of bring or enlighten a little bit. You know, the MLS listing when this house was listed does say 2468, but when you pull the original plans, the plans say 2501. So right now you're assessed at 2535, and North Carolina does allow a 5% variance within comparison to measurements. So we are within that 5% range, and while we're not at the 2468, we're actually not at the 2501 neither, but we are within 5% of both of those.
So do you think that 2535 is what Albert measured?
Right now he's got 2535. Yes, sir. That's his measurements. The actual house plans is 2501. But now one thing that I will point out with this house, there are some angled walls. And our system does not allow sketching of angled walls right now. So right now we have everything squared off, which does affect, the total square footage just a little bit.
Well, I just want to make sure that we've got the measurements that Albert took.
We do, 2535. That is Albert's measurement.
That has priority over everything else, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. May I say something?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe the 2535 is correct, because Albert did come out and measure, and he smiled and told me that it's much closer to what I thought it was.
Well, so, maybe we should continue this case until Albert gets back and we know for sure the square footage, just to make
okay. Well, there's no way to communicate with Albert in the meantime, I guess, or find out if he or not. Can you look at the date that the 2535 was established? That might tell us something, because Albert came out the Friday after our last meeting.
Okay, all right, Mr. Gaddy, what were you going to say something?
Well, when you're in the field and you draw or you sketch a property, there's no way that you can come up with a calculated square footage unless you really take the time to break everything down. So that's why you have to come back into the office and put it in the system, let the system do the calculating for you. Now, if Albert said that the reduction would put it closer to where Mr. Oakley thinks it should be, that is an accurate statement. It went from you know, it went from 2,658 square feet down to 2,535. So that is a step closer, but it is not what the MLS listing listed as. You know, real estate agents pull from the inside. We pull from the outside. So
well, sir, I'm just a little,
Okay.
a little concerned that we might not have the square footage right, and I would like to make sure that we do. When is Albert coming back?
He's not due back until it's either next week or the week after. But again, even the house plans that, you know, the plans that were used by the builder are 2501, and we're at 2535.
Okay. All right. So let us move on with this, please. What does the rest of the board think? Do you want to accept these numbers as Albert's? You want to wait until he comes back? What do the rest of you all think?
I think we should go with the information that we have. I think it's like you say, no square footage is going to be exact, and if we're within that variance margin of error, I think we should move forward with it. That's my opinion.
I'm in agreement with that also.
Okay.
I'm in agreement.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hear a motion to that effect, then, please.
I make a motion to accept the revised value and square footage as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? And if Albert, when he comes back and he finds that the square footage he intended to be something else, that could be changed. Is that correct, Mr. Gaddy?
We will make it right, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Oakley, thank you for coming. If you have any, hopefully things will get straightened out when Albert gets back. And if you're still not satisfied, you can appeal this to the state board. All right.
I understand.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's move on. Is anybody here for number 12? Okay. Mr. Garrard, are you present? I guess you're doing this case.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Let's get you.
I'm here.
Get you sworn in, please, sir. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
State your name and position, please.
Dale Garrett, residential appraiser.
And have you heard anything from Jerry Penny on this property?
I have not talked to him in about a month.
All right.
I talked with him. I've got the date, but I talked to him. He rejected the value on it of 116,513. Our property is a duplex located at 1004 Drew Street. It's 1,292 square foot, built in 1926. His reason for appealing was it's a 90-year-old tin roof and it's not insulated. We did not change the value. That was the value in 2020. We asked the board to uphold the value of 116,513.
Okay, the comparables you used
based on our comps, on comparable sales.
The comparables were similar. They had tin roofs and no insulation or adjustments were made. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That we've got the house listed as in fair condition. Okay. And on our comps, the one on Dowd Street, it's listed as a depreciation of good on here, but when it sold in 2018, it was listed as a fair house also, and it's been remodeled since it was bought, since that sale.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, this is Wendell. When I'm looking at the dirt value of all these, this is an area that's right there that's going through that gentrification, Dow, Gearwood, Elizabeth, and 1004 Drew. I look at the land value. The land value is $81,000, which appears to be consistent across the board, and it's only given a structure value of $34,890 of 34 and some change. So the biggest push up on value has been the dirt, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Then I'll entertain a motion regarding number 12.
So move to accept county revised value of 116,513, but not revised, but as value of 116,513. And this is Wendell.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to number 15. Is anybody here for that property?
Nobody else has signed in.
Okay, all right, Miss McLean, are you here?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Let's get you sworn in, please.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
State your name and position, please.
Candy McLean, residential tax appraiser.
And this is the same person, I guess, J.L. Penny again.
Yes,
You haven't heard anything from him either, I assume.
I've talked with him several times.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. He appealed, number one, because he had a flood. He had a flood because a city drain had a dead tree stuck in it and it flooded. And the city did help him out financially on any damages that were done. And this is a rental house for him. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath built in 1941. It's got 1,140 square feet. The house appears to be in above average condition. We have average on it. The neighborhood consists of older and newer homes. So he wanted a value of $36,500. We had $70,335. After looking at all of his documentation, I did do a small flood adjustment because he did have a flood. He is in a flood area, but he does not have to pay flood insurance. So I reduced it down to $68,131. And when talking with Mr. Penny, he agreed that his house would sell for more than the $68,131 we have on it. His problem is that his tax bill went up. So he wanted to know the difference between 2018 and 2019. So I gave him those figures. His tax bill for 2018 was $709. And for 2019, it was $875. And he felt like that was too high and too much of an adjustment, to his property. So I tried to explain to him about his tax value and how we calculate his tax bill, but he seemed okay with it. And then he changed his mind and he decided he would take it to the board and see what we could do here. I've done the adjustments that I can do, and I think his house would easily sell for the $68,131 as of 1/1/2019. So I didn't do any other adjustments for him.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Any comments? Then I'll entertain a motion regarding number 15.
I move that we accept county's value.
Have a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, let's move on. Is there anybody here for 16 or 17? Anybody come on, Sheila?
Nobody's come on.
All right, well, let's take a 10-minute break then and give them 10 minutes to get here. Okay? I've got 10:45. Sheila, have either of the two 16 or 17 come in?
I think this number 16, she was in, and I put her in a meeting, and probably a second after I put her in the meeting, it went away. So I was thinking maybe she was waiting to come back at 10:45, but so far, no.
Haven't heard anything. Okay.
No.
And nothing from number 17 at all. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
So maybe she'll come back.
All right. Colleen, are you handling these? I've got Gerard on my.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wait a few more minutes for either one of these to come back.
Yeah, that's a good looking picture. She shows up. That's me.
Colleen, do you know when Albert's coming back?
No, sir. I haven't heard anything. I think Jamin said maybe in a couple weeks, 2 weeks.
I thought that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be glad when he gets back.
I bet you. Put on the spot, haven't you, Jamin?
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to do appeals when you don't really know all the legwork. You're coming in at the tail end of these things, and you just try to put all the pieces together and do the best you can. So,
well, you're doing a good job. I know it's not easy for you.
Well, thank you, sir. I don't really know if he has any left. I'm kind of hoping this were the last couple for him. Only time will tell.
Better do some homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of information on the case that we heard, the first one where their value was below their sale value. We, in seeing this appeal and a previous appeal, we discovered that there was some clerical errors on the comparables that the people are using. And that is the reason why they were using those particular comps, because they were the same model and they sold for right about the same price, but yet the others were valued lower than them. And we found what the errors are. And we're going to come back on the December the 1st with those errors corrected and ask you all to approve those changes and correct those values for this year. Now, we've got a plan to try to keep the stress off of the people. We're going to not bill them until after January 1st so that they won't have to worry about trying to come up with the money prior to January 5th of this year. Of 21. So if we bill them in the year of 21, they have the entire year to pay that bill with no penalty, no interest or any of that stuff, because there were clerical errors that came out of our office. So we just wanted you all to know that we will be coming back before you on the 1st with those particular houses that the McLean's, I think their last name was McLean's.
Neptune.
Neptune, excuse me. Neptunes were talking about we're going to correct those valuations to remove those errors. And we looked at the statutes, and it did allow us to do that by coming before you all. And if you had been closed, we could go before the Board of Commissioners, because those people are using those properties with the errors on them as comparable. So we do need to do something about them. So
how many of them are there that you're going to have to do that with?
Throughout the entire county, we found 13. They're not all in that same neighborhood. We found 13 of them.
Okay. Well,
so
that's reasonable.
Yeah. So we want to make those changes. We're going to have a letter. We're going to send them a letter and let them know all their legal recourse and give them an opportunity to appeal if they choose to do so by the 15th. So we may be adding something to that schedule. So we're gonna do that. Everybody who can get in before the 15th, we'll handle them. If they can't, we'll give them an appeal in next year, because we're not going to bill them until after January 1. That will give them the opportunity to have their day in court.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right, well, let's move on. You think Miss Williams was on there, Sheila, and then she...
We had somebody named Ann. It didn't have a last name, and her name is Ann Williams, the name of the owner. But it was when we was on break. When I came back, I clicked her in and sent her a note. And by the time I typed the note, she was gone.
Well, let's do number 17 first and give her a little more time to get on there. There's nobody here for that case as far as you know, is there?
No, nobody else has come in.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on then. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
State your name and position, please.
My name is Colleen Moore. I'm a supervisor with the tax department in Durham.
All right. What do you got for us on this one?
All right. So this property is at 214 Briggs Road. It was purchased. This is a habitat property. It was purchased in 2014 for $129,000, and the owner's opinion of value is $101,000. The original assessment in 2019, when we did our reval, was $223,656. That was lowered to $187,305 in 2019, and then $184, the current value, $184,005 in with this appeal, which comes out to $142 a square feet. It's a C average listing with currently has a 20% negative adjustment on the dwelling. It's a 1,300 square foot property. And we, in looking at this with the properties that you can see, just to kind of get an idea with how habitat falls out there, the older properties that are unrenovated receive the largest adjustments, which are comp 1 and comp 4. That's why those values are so low. So those are the older ranches without renovation. The newer houses out there are just valued as the schedule values them out. And then comp 4 and comp 7. Can you scroll down, Tim? Comp 4 and 7 shows what happens when the older properties are bought in, oh shoot, that's not right. So what do we have? Comp 5, what older property that once it's renovated, it loses its economic adjustment. So that's that one. And then comp 4 is your older house in a gentrified area, but with that economic adjustment on it, it brings the value, really lowers the value on the house. And then, so our subject is valued at $184,000. And this property is not encumbered with any future sales restrictions.
And who renovates these? Just individuals? There's no government involved with the renovating these older properties, are there? I mean, not the habitats, the other ones.
No, well, like this one, the ones on Hart Street are regular developers. They're regular builders out there. It's not, yeah.
Okay. All right. Any further questions on number 17? Any discussion? Then I will entertain a motion on number 17.
I make a motion we uphold the tax value 184,005 by the county.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let's move on to number 16. And Sheila, is she checked in?
Yeah, she's here.
Oh, good, good. All right, if you can bring her in.
Okay, I just asked her to unmute.
I just did.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Williams, can you turn on your video also?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay. I don't know how to do that.
Look in the top right corner, put your mouse in the top right corner, and there are 3 little dots up there. Click on those three little dots.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then one of those will be start video.
Yeah. Okay, side by side. What video for? I see standard side by side speaker gallery.
No,
What?
no, not that far up. There's right in the very corner of your
Oh, by now. Okay, now I see.
You got
it. Start video.
Start video. That's right.
Okay. Okay.
There you are. I need to get you sworn in, please, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Are you comfortable using this Zoom format? Looks like you got it figured out.
Yes.
And you are the owner of this property on Maple Street, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to hear from the county appraiser, and then we're going to come back to you, okay?
Okay.
All right, and this Miss Colleen, are you the one handling this again?
Yes, sir.
And she's already been sworn in. That's why I'm not swearing her in. Okay, what have you got for us on this property, please?
All right, this property is at 112 North Maple Street. It was purchased in 2006 for $142,000. And the opinion of value on it is $126,712. So this property is a 4-bedroom house, and it's 1,800 square feet. And it currently has a 50% negative adjustment, hence the $82 a square foot that you see. And that adjustment has already been applied, and it's a 2006 sale, so it's not encumbered with the sales restrictions, and we feel, if anything, maybe it's a little undervalued at $82 a square feet, and we request the board to uphold the value of $147,205.
Is this another Habitat house?
Yes, sir.
And is that why you made that 50% adjustment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Ms. Williams, you understand that the value of the house would be a lot more, but they've made an adjustment because it's a Habitat house.
What does that have to do with it? Because I've been offered $167,000 for several people have come and have looked at it, and that's what I'm trying to. I just want to know why the value is so low.
Oh,
because they have really renovated in this area. They have really upgraded a lot in our area on this street.
Well, this is not necessarily what you would sell the property for.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the county thinks it's worth for tax purposes. So the lower the value, the less your taxes that you pay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really kind of good for you if it is below what people are thinking.
Yeah,
But yeah, you wouldn't sell the property for this necessarily.
Oh, okay.
You would talk to a real estate person.
Right. Okay.
Well,
the tax is a little high, but it's been kind of like plateauing the same, close to similar the same every year. So I guess I shouldn't have a problem with it, So
yeah, the taxes are going up for all of us, unfortunately. But that's
yeah,
the way it is.
I mean, it goes up, but it doesn't go up tremendous. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you're just in an area where a lot's going on. That's why it's
Yes.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
No. I was just wondering. I just needed a clear understanding of how things operated, because I didn't know, and that's why I wanted to zoom in on the meeting. Okay,
good. All right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Okay.
Any discussion from the board regarding this property?
No.
All right. Then I'll entertain a motion on number 16.
Can I ask the question?
Yes, ma'am.
I was trying to look on this list that's here. Is this list because I was trying to find out how big is the property, like the land. That's why I was trying to. I just wanted to know.
Let's see.
It's 0.46, almost 0.46 of an acre, so almost half an acre.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion regarding number 16.
I'll move we uphold the county's value.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Brooks.
Okay, thank you. Here.
All right. Do we have anybody else for anything, Sheila?
Somebody came in, but there's not a name. Let me see if I can chat.
Okay.
The young lady who came in on the iPhone, would you tell us what your address is on the property that you are appealing?
214 South Briggs Avenue.
Well, we just heard that one because you're a little late.
I didn't know I had to download. I had trouble getting into it.
Well, we'll hear from you, I guess. We've already made a motion. We'll have to reopen it if we change our mind. What do you have some questions about this? Again, we've already had our presentation. Could you maybe go over it a little bit, Ms. Moore, for her?
Sure. So the property it's 214 South Briggs. It was purchased in 2014 for $129,000, and the Ms. Williamson's opinion of value is $101,000. The original assessment of $223,656 when we did the 2019 reval, that was reduced to $187,305 in an appeal last year. It was further reduced this year to $184,005. It's a C average home. There's a 20% negative adjustment on the dwelling, 1,300 square feet, and we are asking you to uphold the $184,000, which is $142 a square foot.
Okay.
Did you say it was appealed twice? I mean, the first year I didn't even know I can appeal the house. I didn't even know, and it went up to 220 or whatever. It over doubled what it was when I bought it, and I'm not understanding why.
Okay, ma'am, I need to get you sworn in, please. If you raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And you are the owner of this property on Briggs Avenue, correct?
I am.
And you comfortable using this Zoom format for the?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Are you comfortable using this format, this Zoom online format for your appeal?
You mean just talking to you guys, correct?
Well, just do it. Yeah, normally we meet in person, but because
talking to you guys is fine. Yes, that's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Now you can continue. So you're just concerned that it doubled.
So yeah, I wasn't aware because I bought this property through Habitat, and I thought they handled all the taxes. So when I when I got the taxes, they went up, and not last year. Well, last year I didn't know I was supposed to appeal it, and my property taxes is more than my mortgage, and I'm like, I don't understand why I got that high. And she explained to me why. I'm looking at my property value when I first bought this house was 101. It's over double, and I'm still trying to understand why.
So you say you paid 101 when you bought the property?
No. I said the value of it was it was 101, if I'm not mistaken. It was less than what I paid for the house.
Okay, that was the tax value back when you paid for it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what we do is what the county does is they base it on what other properties are selling for now. And so it doesn't really matter so much what it sold for or what the value was back then. And it has been reduced because it's a Habitat house. But these are the values. If you look on the screen there, you can see where the value for this property came from, how the county came up with their value. If you have any questions of the appraiser, she's here, but we need to know what you think it's worth and why you think it's only worth 101.
I mean, even my neighbor, all three of us, we have the same house, and mine is more than theirs. Mine is they took my neighbors, y'all took my neighbors down, so I want to say 150 or 160, and I'm still like, we got the same house around the same time. At least worth what theirs is, the 150. Not even the 180 is kind of high.
Well, do you have anything to contribute, Ms. Moore?
No, sir, not unless I knew what property that what she was talking about.
212 is directly beside me, and 216. I'm not 100% sure if hers went down, but 212, hers went down.
Well, yours went down substantially, seeing that it started at 223.
Yeah, that's because I didn't appeal it. This is the first year I appealed it. I think you said I did it twice,
Right,
but
right. I misspoke. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It started at 223, 656, and then we lowered it to 187, and then further increased the negative adjustment on it, which brought it to the 184. So I misspoke. I saw that you did not appeal in 2019.
So they have reduced it $40,000. Okay. All right. Well, we've already made our decision on this.
I actually, can I ask a question?
Yes, Tony. What?
This is another one that looks like there's a pretty significant jump since 2018. And again, it looks like that the actual structure has increased by like $80,000. So because it's a habitat house, and just knowing, that they're sort of basically built, I don't know that it would have increased or appreciated that much. Just the structure itself. I know that the land has appreciated, and I wonder if this is something like the other one that we looked at.
Can I? The other one that we looked at that we reduced on Tuesday, well, we did that because of the structure of the property with the 3 bedrooms downstairs and the living room, the living area upstairs, which was kind of awkward. Plus, that's the property that had flooded and had basically some residue left from that. This looks like, as far as I can tell, this house is in very good shape. 1,300 square feet. It's, if we look at the area and we look at the older houses that have not been renovated and the newer houses that are going in there and the older houses that have been renovated, she falls right in line, or if not a little bit low. So, and I looked at the property at, that's North Briggs. I was trying to find her neighbor's house, which I can do and email her information on it. But as far as her property itself, I can't speak to the other ones, but hers, it looks like it's listed correctly. It's in a desirable area. It's been brought down from market, and there's only, even accommodating the habitat houses, we still have to look at market.
Hey, Tony, you look like you're thinking. What are you thinking?
I think, to me, knowing how a habitat house, even in good condition, compared to something that has been renovated, generally the renovations are at a higher quality.
Sure, and that's why we have high. So the property in comp 1 that has not been renovated, we have a C- average. Hers we have as a average quality of construction in an average condition. As the houses get renovated, you'll see that. So the comp number 3 comes in as, for a house being built right now, it's a C+ average. If you look, will you scroll down to the other ones, Tim, please? Right. So these other properties, the older properties that get renovated, you can see, so this 1910 on comp 5, it's a C grade, but the condition of it is very good. So that depreciation drives value. So with Miss Williamson's house, it's a you know, we have to list it how it is, not because it is a habitat. We have ranch, we have a C, but we've reduced that depreciation on it by putting the adjustment on the dwelling itself.
Can I see the first three comps again? And I understand all of that. I'm just,
okay.
It's just steep.
Well, what's your per square foot value for this one, Ms. Moore?
This is 142 a square foot.
Can you scroll up just a little bit, Tim? Just thank you. I meant down so we can see the whole, yeah. Thank you. All right.
Well, it does look like the older ones that have been renovated are much lower. But I'm not even sure why you're showing those in there, but the newer ones closer to age are higher than you have hers valued, correct? Almost half.
Right. So even with upping, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Are you there? Oh, we lost her. Wendell, have you got something to say? Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Moore.
I'm sorry. I've lost you guys. Hang on.
We hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay.
Now, I'm just curious why you have the older ones even in there, on 1910 versus 2014.
Okay. So I'm sorry. I most of everything that you just said I get. So could you repeat?
Just wondering why you use ones that are a lot older, the age, and you've got some that were built in 2017, but you used one that was built in 1910. Just curious why you used that one from 1910. Shoot.
We are having technical difficulties. She keeps going in and out, and I think she has lost connection.
Okay. All right. Well, what are the rest of you?
Colleen, can you unmute?
Yep. Okay.
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Did you hear my question? I was just wondering why you even included these sales that were so much older than the.
Well, because I was just trying to give a feel for what's going on in the neighborhood. So we've got the older houses that have not been renovated, and you can see what that adjustment does to them, that 50% economic adjustment on these older houses. The newer houses, there's no adjustment, and they're just valuing out with the schedule. And then the older houses that have been renovated, that depreciation, that the condition will go up to very good. Some of them are excellent. The subject property is, there's very few houses that were built right around 2014. And when the owner bought it, the neighborhood had really been started being gentrified. So the original assessment when she bought the house was very low. I think it was $102,000 is what it was assessed at. So this is just what has happened since that time. And with the 19 reval, where it did a big jump, looking at the 17 and 18 sales, it's that, like I said, that original assessment was 223. So.
Okay. All right. Well, what's the board think? Do you want to reopen this case? Are you all satisfied with the value that we already voted on?
I'm satisfied with the value we voted on. I mean, she has made a 50% adjustment on the value based on it being a Habitat for Humanity house.
Okay. David, what's your feeling? And Wendell, what do you all think?
I'll wait on David.
I'm sort of leaning with Jeanette on this one.
I am too, because the dirt is remaining static, and knowing what was taking place in Briggs Avenue in 2014, the dirt value is static, but the square footage and the age, the actual age is only 6-year-old property, and it does, well, a 50% adjustment, it's going to appreciate by default. But even with the 50% adjustment, I'm okay with the value being brought down to 184. It's just a component of where the property is located.
One thing that jumps out at me though is the you got the land value, and then you look at the structure value. You got $158,000. Am I correct? And then you come across to comp number 1, and you got 49,000.
And that house on South Guthrie 201, it was renovated back in 2006. So it's not like original in there. It's not a fresh renovation, but it's, it's not horrible.
I have trouble with that one because it's 100 years different.
It is, exactly.
Right. You can renovate it, but they're going to be functional problems with it. That, I think it's more comparable if we look at the 2 on Ash Street.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm leaning with Jeanette.
Wendell, are you good?
I am. And I'll say this from what we've been discussing, the valuation process with the habitat properties doesn't factor in the neighborhood appreciation. So trying to keep them capped off is going to become even more difficult with from appreciation in the market. And that's what we're dealing with right now. It's pressure in the market for upward valuation. And at some point, if the properties are not keeping track with them, then how much more economic depreciation can you actually factor in? You're at 50% now. So what point does appreciation on this economic component actually hurt the property owner as opposed to help them? It kind of works against the intent of habitat and what self-help is doing. So
exactly.
My comment, I hear what Tony is saying. I know where she was going with that. Yeah.
All right, Tony, are you okay?
I'm not happy, but I'll live.
All right, well, we don't need to have a motion because we've already made a motion.
Okay.
And we're going to stick with the county's value. Ms. Williamson, you still here?
I am.
And if you're not satisfied, you can appeal this to the state board, the Property Tax Commission over in Raleigh. And you'll get information about that in a letter from the county. Okay?
Okay, I sure will. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sheila, anybody for the rest of them? As far as you can tell?
Nobody has come in.
Okay, all right, well, we'll take a break until 11:45 when the next cases are supposed to be here.
Okay.
Tanya.
Yes.
Tanya. This is getting more and more difficult. We have an email that I'll read that we got in for someone representing our case, the 1145 case. Everything is based on the burden of paying these taxes. It seems like, and I reached out to Habitat and Self-Help prior to starting these appeals. And I'm going to talk to Dwane. I think I'm with you. My head goes where you're at, but what do we do? And when these people, I feel like there's it's almost like the community land trust. I think people are a little bit misled when they purchase these properties, and then all of a sudden they're having to maneuver this on their own, these appeals, right? It should be really stated and documented that they understand that they get in low, but that doesn't mean that the houses are going to stay what they paid for it. I understand them being totally blown away. Right. So I'm trying, as I do these, to not be like, I'm trying to be really subjective, right? But this next one will break your heart when you read the email that was sent for this owner. 5 kids, 1 person working. It's because of COVID. So
right. Well, I think it's good. I think it is good that they see us trying to like get in there. We're not just stamping it and moving it on. We're really trying to listen and see if there's anything we can do to solve whatever we can, and there's going to be times we can't do anything, but if anything, this gives us the ability to at least do that part.
Do any of the tax programs for the elderly, can they apply to the Habitat homes, or is there any tax credits or tax reductions because of that?
There is none because of Habitat itself, but there is the permanently disabled. We have that, and there is an elderly with a cap on the income. So,
what's the cap?
The other problem is that, like this property, the property we just looked at, the properties that aren't encumbered with any restrictions. Just like we heard the older woman before in the first case, she's been approached how many times? She's got almost half an acre. So you imagine what people are going to pay. That property is just worth a lot of money. Right. And so these Habitat houses, I think that people are really being targeted. And I talked to Habitat about this. You've got people in self-help that are really being targeted because of the location of where their houses are. And they're just, you guys know that they're leveling them, or they're doing a total gut. And with not having any restrictions on what they can get for the property, it's really difficult for us to put an adjustment on based on that, because there are no restrictions for them, right? But that doesn't help them if they're not planning to sell. They want to live in that house. That's the whole Habitat.
Well, and even if they did sell, what they are getting, while it's high in relationship to other properties, trying to find another place to live for that amount of money is, unless you're moving to a completely different place that has, not the values that we have here. You can't buy the same thing across the board. Like, you know what I mean? So
I feel like there should be, what I would like to see is a specific on these properties that are targeted towards low income. It should almost be like Section 42. To me, it seems like there should be an across the board adjustment on the houses that are consistent, that is going to remain. But then what happens if one of these houses like this one are one of the ones that was bought in 2014 for $129, if they do turn around and sell it for, $200,000, it's just hard to keep up with all, there's a 10-year cap. And then, so I just think if we could move to an across the board adjustment and everybody was treated the same way and they knew that when they were buying in. So
or maybe maybe it's a totally different, because a lot of this is income based, some folks can handle this because their property's appreciating, they understand it, they understand the value of that. But, some folks don't have, a cost of living increase that comes with their job every year, and that kind of thing. I'm wondering if there's a way I don't know how you start that sort of thing, but some sort of subsidy that softens that, when we do have these huge spikes in value, that it's income based.
Well, we do have a new program that is coming up here in the county. It's here in the county where people can apply to have some subsidies, have their tax bill subsidized. And it's just a new program that just got started this year. And it's for people to donate money to paying other people's bills. And so had 32 taxpayers donate, and we have almost $3,200 and some change in the and at this point collected.
Well, isn't there also a program in the circuit breaker program? Isn't that designed for low income people?
We are, the county commissioners are tax bills, but I don't know if people are getting the information for that.
Because that's a state, I don't know what it is. I understand nobody likes it, but I mean, it is available, I think.
No, this is just right here in Durham County. This is something that Durham County has just set in this year.
I understand, but I think the state has one too, has the circuit, called the circuit breaker.
Okay, well, nobody wants a circuit breaker because in the end, somebody's got to pay that deferred tax plus interest.
Yeah.
Now, you can come in and do that, but
that's like taking out a loan you can't pay.
Right, it's taking out a loan you know you're not going to be able to pay at the end.
That's why I don't even bring that one up.
Yeah, that's not one that fits. It fits only a very, very few people.
Well, I mean, it works the same way as the forestry exemption, where your tax is really low, but when you sell the property, you got to pay for it then. So, I mean, it's the same kind of idea, right?
But usually when they are selling used parcels, they're large and they're making a lot of money on them because developers are buying them, especially stuff in forestry, because it starts at 20 acres. So they're buying it and they just kind of roll back into what they're going to sell the property for.
Yeah, so it ends up the buyer generally pays the taxes included in that sale, which it's a little bit different. Each one of those programs are a little bit different, and the PUV program, which has a ridiculously low valuation for the PUV part compared to the market part of it, which gives them the advantage of being able to keep their money. And then when the property does sell, they really transfer that on to the purchaser.
Well, isn't that the same way the circuit breaker is designed to work?
But the circuit breaker has to be at some point in time. It doesn't require a sale to kick you out. At some point in time, because you have to apply for it yearly, whereas in the PUV, you only have to have an audit every 8 years or whatever your revaluation cycle is. It's a little bit different, and it's a little bit different in how the taxes would be paid. And the taxes are generally passed on to the purchaser because he knows that it was under the PUV program. And maybe with some education or training or teaching of the overall, that we could have an understanding here in the state that this was a habitat house. It has been reduced by X number of dollars, and we could then pass that on to the new purchaser, but it would have to be something that was generated statewide for us to make those adjustments on the actual property for that reason, whatever that means. Yeah,
Well, I feel like Colleen is doing a good job trying to reduce every habitat house, just based on quality. But it's still not enough for some of these people.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement that the house we just came through, the one we just did for that lady, that is a heartbreaker right there. And this next one is going to be worse because these folks, their boss is kind of writing a letter for them, and they're going to say that there's only one person working. The others have been laid off because of COVID. They got a bunch of kids in there, and this is a struggle for them. But these are the types that should apply for the program that I'm saying we just started. And they should, because someone will subsidize them in paying their taxes, so they should really be involved with that new program that we have.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should be monkeying around with the tax values.
Right.
Yeah.
Have some kind of program to help people pay those. We should value these properties at market value.
Right.
And they should somehow do something to help these people.
Yes. And that's what we're trying to establish here in the county, a subsidy program, so that we don't have to be concerned that how it is assessed it is assessed, and then they apply for assistance, and then the assistance is granted or not granted based on whatever the qualifications are. And it is the income is part of qualifying for the new property of the new program. So that lady, I think, would be eligible. I don't know her personally, but I think she would be eligible, and maybe we should have her to contact.
It's 10 years. You have to have lived in the house for 10 years to
Oh,
eat.
yeah,
that's one of the qualifying.
That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is for the.
And there was well, I won't.
That's not going to work well for the habitat people because they haven't
Property
been in this
ownership.
house.
Right. She had been in there for 10 years. That was the part for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this is something that the county commissioners need to deal with, I think.
Totally agree.
And, you know, maybe we should lobby them and tell them that. Maybe we should.
Well, I am, when this process is over, I'm going to meet again with Habitat. And if the letter that was submitted with all these appeals, if you, let me read you one, because this went out with every single, to everybody who owned a Habitat house. And you'll see why there's a bit of confusion, because this is the direction that they're getting. Along with their appeal, Tim, can you, I'm sorry, hang on just a sec. So what everybody submitted, it says, we purchased our home through Habitat for Humanity of Durham. The first time home buyers program is for low income families like mine. We have limited income and will not be able to afford the mortgage with the increase in taxes. We would appreciate your reconsideration on the valuing of my property. So Habitat sent that out to all the Habitat owners. So I think education-wise, it's really important that you maybe try to get involved so that these buyers are educated and that Habitat understands that every property that's a Habitat was sold by Habitat is not sales restricted, right? And that the sales restriction on the new ones is $256,000 they can sell it for. It just has to be a qualifying buyer. So I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like, you're bringing these people in for probably all they can afford, because the sale prices vary all over the place for the same type of house. So it's got to be based on their income. But then they just are not being educated as far as what the potential is when they buy these houses. So,
well, maybe Habitat needs to help these people out, have some kind of fund, you know, or again,
I agree.
Not us. I think Habitat and the county need to get together and figure this out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And we are still on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we're saying anything that I don't want people to know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think
I'm glad you said something.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
that was just so we wouldn't burp out loud.
or say, "Oh, dirty, rotten capitalist." Something like that, right?
I think I heard David Williams, Mr. Williams, chewing crackers, and you know, it was disturbing.
Well, I'm gonna go stretch my legs for a minute so I don't fall.
Okay. 10:45.
Hey, Tony.
Yes.
Hey, how do we address this issue? I know it's a policy issue at some point, but I keep thinking about the issues with self-help. I won't say self-help. When I look at what Habitat, and I don't know how a market like ours on other areas around the state, how they've addressed this policy-wise with an entity like Habitat, educating their home buyers on here's where your entry point is in purchasing, but that doesn't mean your property value is going to stay static and it's not going to appreciate, and the municipality is not going to raise your taxes. So where does the county comes in? Where's the county's role in helping that? Because devaluing the properties, adjustments in.
Yeah, I don't think that's where it's at.
Yeah,
I don't think we can devalue the properties because that doesn't.
Yeah, you're making these adjustments. Everything around you is going up, and after wealth creation. I know we have. I just don't know. I think it's troubling me.
Well, I think again that we are at a place, with the size of Durham and the fact that it's going to keep growing, and that property value has become more volatile. I think. Right. In the last 50 years, we are looking at, it's not the same animal it used to be, And so I do think that the county needs to look at ways, because it's not just the self-help and it's not just, the Habitat folks. We've seen elderly folks in here who, all of a sudden, they've got a fixed income and they, but just anybody, some of these things could catch a lot of folks, and so I do think there should be something that is income based, that if you see a sharp increase in your property taxes, that if you qualify, you can tap into, because it only helps everybody to keep those folks in those houses. We don't want people, having to sell their home because of property taxes. That doesn't help at all.
Yeah, the whole purpose of workforce housing. That was the reason, the basis behind workforce housing, and now to be caught by economic drivers such as appreciation, these policies done in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s may not be applicable in 2021 going forward.
Exactly. And I think the reality too is, because I've heard some folks say the argument, well, we'll just sell what you have. Well, unless you're selling something that you bought for 60 grand and all of a sudden now it's worth $500,000, that's an obvious choice. But if you're most people, and you're caught in this, a sharp rise, it's increased your property taxes. At least what I've seen is that your property is not valued to the point where if you did sell it, you could just buy, a simple house.
Right.
Within
replacement's not there. Yeah,
right, exactly. There's no inventory for that, and so that's where you're talking about people making the choice of being underhoused or even homeless just so that they can solve their property tax problem, and that doesn't make sense to me.
That's right. I agree.
We should continue this conversation later. I mean, well, we are required by the state to value real estate at 100% of its value. That's state law.
Right.
That's state law. That's right.
Well, that's why I think we can't address the value with that. Like,
we can't do that, but hopefully the county can do something to help these people. So let's move along. Okay, Mrs. Atix, is that how we say your name?
Addicts.
Addicts. Okay. All right. First thing we need to do is get you sworn in, please. If you raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And are you the owner of this property on Alabama Avenue?
Yes, I am.
And are you comfortable using this Zoom format online?
I am, although I see that we're live on YouTube.
You are. So be careful what you say.
This is like my teenagers would love. This is my YouTube debut. This is my chance to get famous.
All right. Well, we'll come back to you. We'll hear from the county appraiser first, and then we'll come back to you. All right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Mr. McCree, are you the one that's dealing with this property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's get you sworn in, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and position with the county, please.
My name is Gino McCree. I'm a Durham County residential tax appraiser.
Okay, what do you have for us on this property?
Okay, this property is parcel number 103697. It's located at 1115 Alabama Avenue. The value that we have in place is a result of the 2019 the general reappraisal. The 2020 assessment value for the property is $116,700. That is the value that I'm asking you to uphold based on the information that I was able to obtain. We had some vacant, it's a vacant piece of land. So there were some vacant land sales that occurred in that particular neighborhood. I have 3 particular sales themselves. 1004 Alabama Avenue.
Tim, can you pull those up? Is there a
I think
chart?
Tim has them. I think I did upload them.
Okay.
Yeah, those are those. The 1004 Alabama Avenue, you know, that sold at $814.18 for $80,000. The 2210 Green Street sold $517.18 for $160,000, and 909 Iredale Street that sold on October 1917 for $165,000. All these vacant land sales are in neighborhood R822E, which is the subject's neighborhood itself.
And what's the size of the subject?
The size of the subject itself is 0.167 acres.
Okay, so it's pretty close in size to the second 2 that you have there.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
is it a buildable lot?
It is a buildable lot. It is a buildable lot. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's your turn now, Miss Addix.
Great. So am I allowed to share screen? Am I enabled to? So if someone can enable me to share screen.
Well, you're supposed to have already sent your data in. Did you do that? Your information?
So I apologize, and I didn't, and I can certainly just talk through my points. Last night I organized them onto like 2 slides. So if it's better to just talk through it, I can. I didn't catch that I was supposed to send it in advance in time. So I apologize for that.
Well, we're not supposed to, but it will probably be easier on us if you do share your screen and we can follow what you're talking about.
Okay.
If you can do that.
Sure. If I'm enabled, hang on just a second.
Tim, will she be able to?
Yep, it just came up. Hang on. And my PowerPoint. Okay. So I appreciate the review. I just want to start with that and say that my concern isn't in comparison to other empty lots, but sort of comparison to what has happened over time, as well as other comparisons. And this lot here is the one that we're talking about. And the lot here right in front of it, which is 2401 West Club, is actually the lot that I purchased, back in the early 2000s. It was an adjoining lot. And at that time I purchased both for $155,000 and then renovated the house that was on 2401, eventually sold that, leaving just the land. And in all of those years, the land value was at about $52,000. It was specifically $52,515. So the stated sale in 2004 of my little lot, I'm going to call Alabama the little lot, of 155 was incorrect. That sale is actually for the joint parcel of both my little lot and the 2401 West Club parcel. There's been no improvements, zero, no change to my lot since over time. There's no gas, no electricity, no driveway, there's no water, it is not like build ready by any means. And so there's been no change. So to have an increase that was 122% was rather shocking. So then I started comparing some of the lots. And interestingly, the 2401 lot, which this used to be attached to, also has now a fair market appraisal according to the Durham tax records of $116,700. And so, you know, I'm going to go down here now to my last point is that my Alabama lot is now valued at $116,700 at 0.167 acres. This is a $64,000 increase in tax value. The adjoining 2401 lot is also now valued at $116,700 at almost double the acreage at 0.294 acres. And their increase over time was only $13,000. So it just seems like the math doesn't add up. The lot is unbuilt and hasn't had any change and is half the size of the club lot, and yet the acreage, or not the acreage, the tax value of the land, because as you know in the tax record it breaks out now the land versus the house, is the same. So I just don't understand what a 122% increase is when there's been no change on the land, and the land is so much smaller than the 2401 lot. So I would like to request a modification of the new appraisal value. Of course, the values go up, but as Mr. McCree said, the lots that sold in the neighborhood, I just saw what he put up, range from 80,000 to 160,000, right? So there's a big range. And I think that this lot should be closer to the lower number because there's been no change and it's half the size of the adjoining lot, which is valued at the same place.
Okay, Mr. McCree, do you have any comment about why those two properties have the same value?
I did not look at those, so I do not. I looked at mine based on the sales that I was able to find for vacant lots in that particular neighborhood.
So it could be that the other lot is undervalued.
It could be that the other lot is undervalued, seeing the size of it. But if you look at the 104 Alabama Avenue, the particular parcel that she was saying was on the low end, it only has 0.77 acres. Her lot has 0.167 acres, so it's almost double, which means that'll put it at $160,000. We have hers at $116,000. So
can we see his Mr. McCrae's comparables again, please, Tim?
Oh, I think I have to stop sharing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I'm having a little trouble. Give me a second. Here we go. This is embarrassing. Oh, here, it's up here. Stop share. Okay, I let it go.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Tim, can you pull that chart up? Thanks. All right, so again, we're looking at two that are pretty close in size, that are 160 and 165, and yours is 116.
116.
116.
Okay. All right, any questions from the board? Any discussion about this property?
Mr. Chair, this is Wendell. I had a question I wanted to ask Mr. McCree. What type of adjustments, if economic is applicable with no driveway, well, with no utilities and no water and sewer? I just wanted to find out what he thinks about.
I mean, it does not have water and sewer on there, but it has access to it.
It has access, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
Access to it, yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would imagine with all the other houses around it, they've got water.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I thought as well.
All right, any other comments? Okay, then I will entertain a motion regarding this property.
I move that we uphold the county's value.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Property values have just gone up, especially in this area. That's just a very valuable lot that you've got there, man. And I don't know why the other lot is lower. We don't know that, but we could look into it. But it would probably just mean their value would go up based on the sales that we have. And if you're not satisfied, you can appeal this to Raleigh, to the Property Tax Commission, and you'll get information about that in the letter from the county.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. All right, Sheila, do we have anybody else for 11:45
Nobody else has come in.
for 19 or 20?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 19. Colleen, are you still here?
Yes,
Oh,
sir, I'm here.
All right. What do you have for us on this one?
All right, this property is 2514 Ash Street. It was purchased in 2016 for $134,000. And the reason for appeal was the increase since the last revaluation. It is assessed at $187,305, which is $135 a square foot. It's a C average, and it's a 1386 Cape Cod built in 2016. So can you bring where it says, Tim, on the owner's comps, do the other ones first, please?
All right, they're just downloading right now, but
okay. So I included the comps that were sent in the appeal. So here's what we've got. So here's the subject property. And this was one of his comps. I've researched this and the other ranch, and I'm not sure, neither of them were on the open market. This one we have is a D+. It was built in 50. It's 950 square feet, and it sold for $57,000 in 2017. We do not have a building permit on it, which I was kind of surprised because I looked at it. There were probably renovations that were going to take place on it. The other, I don't know why it sold that low. This one right here, 1,100 square feet, built in 52. C- average, and it sold for $70,000 in 2017. There's also not a building permit that's been issued on that property. The next one that they submitted was 2603 Owen. The property sold for $70,000 in 2017 and $225,000 in 2018. I didn't put the square footage we had was 900 square feet. There is an open building permit that's open on that. So I didn't put what the square footage, it looks like they maybe increased it. So the appraiser will be out to review that property for 21 taxes. And the other ones that they submitted, this was on Bingham. This is what the property looked like when it sold in 17 for $70,000, and then in 2018 it sold for $148,000, and this is currently how it looks. And then our last property, this one is also on Bingham, and like I said, these are all the ones that they submitted. It's currently a C grade excellent. It was built in 1960, 900 square feet. Sold for $43,500 in 2017 and $154,000 in 2017. So another example of how the houses in the subject neighborhood are increasing. And you want to put up the other comps, Tim, please? All right. And obviously none of these are habitat houses, but they're in the subject neighborhood. And his is this doesn't have the price per square foot, does it? Have the you know, and I put these up there, not that sometimes I feel like it's apples and oranges, but I feel like I should put up what is currently in the neighborhood that has a close year built. So, and this is what we received. It says, to whom it may concern, we wish to cancel the hearing for the person below. I am his employer trying to assist him since he speaks some English, but not enough to represent himself. I noted in the notice of hearing sent that I'm not allowed to represent him. Our appeal is not the only one of numbers, but of compassion for the current situation. A legal immigrant family of 5 in a Habitat home with only one person working in the family due to COVID. The huge tax increase causing hardship for them on such a sudden large increase in the property value. So if this isn't enough reason to consider, we sadly cannot appeal in this hearing. And sincerely, Ms. Sanderson. So I did email back to them and try to explain the role that we play as appraisers in the assessment of the properties. And I haven't heard anything from them. So, you know, if you look at the most of the newer homes, they're around $192 a square foot they average out, and the subject is $135,000 a square foot.
And all the ones
the only thing I could see is bringing it to changing the quality grade, but there's really, the house is a house. It's a well-built, for a Habitat house. It's a little bit more, sometimes they're just more plain Jane, and this was exteriorly a well-built house. So I didn't have any further adjustments that I felt could be made.
So you did not make a downward adjustment for the fact that this.
I did not with not with the value going out at $135 a square foot. If it had been higher than that, we could have brought it down some, but I didn't feel it warranted at that low per square foot.
And the comparables that they supplied look like they were all smaller and older than ours.
Yeah, they were. And I think what I tried to explain when I emailed back was that those sales, those original sales that they saw, those were basically for the dirt. You know, it was just people that wanted that location, because the renovations on the properties have been extreme.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
So did we make an adjustment for this being a Habitat for Humanity house like we've been doing on the other ones?
Not, because what I've tried to do is remain consistent with, you'll notice most of the stuff when I tell the assessment per square foot runs between about 130, and I think the high might be 160, maybe for in a neighborhood that's a lot more marketable, but most everything is hovering right around $135, $145 a square foot. And this fell in line without the adjustment on it. It fell in that consistent area. So in fact, kind of on the lower end. So I did not make an adjustment for it being a Habitat house.
So you're saying the other Habitat Humanity houses are been valued at like 135 to 145 with their adjustments. So because this one was already at 135, you didn't make.
Right. It went out pretty low. It went out 187,305. Most of the properties that have appealed that are this new, the assessments were closer to original assessments were closer to maybe $240,000. And then we lowered them down with that economic adjustment because it's Habitat. This actually went out at a pretty low value. You can tell how marketable the neighborhoods are by the land value. So seeing a land value on this that's $23,200, it's indicative that there's not, while it is gentrifying, the land value is pretty low, because some of the habitats are in neighborhoods that the land values, you know, coming out close to $60,000.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on with this one. So, what any discussion from the board? Yeah, it is, you know, Colleen, you were saying about maybe some sort of across the board adjustment for Habitat would be, you know, better, but you feel like the quality of this one is better than the other Habitat. habitats.
Right, and it's also, it was assessed originally lower than most of the other houses at $187,000. And
Okay.
at this point, we can't make an across the board. We can petition for, you know, what we do in the future with habitat houses, but that's above my level. We would have to have some kind of agreement with Habitat in our county, I guess.
Okay, all right, any discussion from the board or any questions? I will then entertain a motion for number 19.
I move that we accept county's value.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let's move on to number 20. Is anybody here from that one, Sheila?
Excuse me, they accepted the value. They accepted their value.
Number 20 did?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion for number 20.
So move to accept the county's reassessed value for number 20.
Have a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, number 21. Do we have somebody for that property?
No.
Didn't we hear this one before? This is the Carolina Times building, right? I thought maybe it was last year.
You on number 21?
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, let's bring George in. George, are you here?
I am.
Yeah, he was. I was going to say he was here.
Maybe he's got some information for us.
Well, we settled yesterday, and I didn't recognize the name Carolina Pines, but didn't have the itinerary updated because.
Wait just a minute, George. Let's get you sworn in, please. All right.
All right.
Turn your video on.
Okay.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. So you say you've settled this one?
We settled this one at $495,422. Met with the owner on site yesterday. He apparently was a delayed acceptance for a hearing because his father had died earlier in the year, and he hadn't been aware of the tax bill he was going through.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. I remember this. Yeah.
I do too now. Okay.
So, nice gentleman. We went out to take a look at it. He had made some descriptions about the building that gave me some concern that we may not have accurately captured it from the exterior. So I met with him about noon yesterday, went through the building, and agree with 95% of what he was saying. So we did some adjustments. I offered him a lower valuation, and he accepted it. So that came out at $495,422.
Okay. All right. Any discussion from the board? Then I will entertain a motion for number 21.
Move that we accept the adjusted value of $495,422.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Anybody here for the I guess these are penalty cases for 1230?
Yes, we had some acceptance and withdrawals and whatever, so the schedule ended up with a gap in it.
Okay.
But hers starts at 12:30.
Okay, so I guess we'll come back at 12:30.
Okay.
All right. See you all then.
Miss Jeanette don't look so happy. You make us think you've eaten lunch already.
Oh, Starling, how did things work out with that case before the Property Tax Commission? I don't know if you said anything, but I couldn't hear you if you did.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know how it worked out, but we were there for an hour before the commission came back and told Brian something, and then Brian related to us saying that she wasn't able to do it virtually. So we don't know anything else yet.
So she didn't show up at all.
Well, we do know that they put us out one time and went to a phone call, so we don't know what it was about or anything. So we'll find out. The paperwork should be coming up today, Thursday. Well, paperwork should be coming up soon to let us know where we're gonna go, from there. So I don't know, but we feel pretty good about that one. So that'll be the one, of course, we come back with our tails wagging on,
Yeah, you never know.
Never know. I noticed that Miss Jeanette did not tell us whether or not she had eaten lunch. Okay, so I'm going to take it that she has.
No, I no lunch yet. No lunch yet.
Okay.
Just a minute more. We're waiting for one more board member, and then we'll start.
All right, Dave.
Okay. All right, let's see. These are for business cases. I'm assuming these are all penalty cases. Is that right, Ms. Purdy?
That is correct, Mr. Smith. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm going to get you sworn in first, please.
Okay.
You would raise your right hand Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name, please.
Jesse Purdy, business personal property manager, compliance division, Durham County Tax Office.
Okay, I'll just go through the list here. First of all, Metabolin, is someone here for that property?
Hello, this is Kellen Batson with Metabolon.
Metabolon.
Thank you for waiting. I apologize.
That's okay. I need to get you sworn in also. If you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And what's your association with this company?
I'm the corporate controller with Metabolon.
So are you an employee of the company?
I am not an employee of the company.
Are you an officer of the company? What do you mean by controller?
I'm the temporary controller. I'm not a permanent employee of Metabolon, but I've been with the company for over 9 months now.
Okay, but you are salaried at some point. I'm sorry. Are you also, Mr. Kurtzwell, are you also associated with this company?
Yes, I'm the chief financial officer for the company, and I'm an officer and also an employee.
Okay, we just want to make sure that you all have standing, and as long as you're present, he can.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. We're going to move to Ms. Purdy, and then we'll come back to you all. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Ms. Purdy. What do you have for us on this property?
This was an audit discovery that was conducted by our auditors for tax years 2015 to 2019 in the amount of $77,746.33. They are appealing the penalties for that amount and for those years. The penalties were applied to the audit because the taxpayer failed to report all costs for assets shown on their fixed asset schedule, and they also reported costs for assets in the incorrect year of acquisition. The staff recommendation is that the total penalties of the $77,746.33 remain on the tax receipts according to North Carolina General Statute 105-312H.
And have they already paid the taxes?
Not paid.
Haven't paid the taxes or the penalty?
Mr. Smith, they had not paid either.
Okay.
We have paid the principal, I believe.
Just a minute.
Sorry.
Okay. So you say you have paid the taxes?
Yes, the principal. That's what our records show, that we paid the $203,749.36. We have not yet paid the penalties and interest of $77,746.32.
Okay. They must have done it since I've run this report. Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
And Ms. Purdy, we can't do anything about the interest, correct?
That is correct.
The only thing we can do is the penalties, and is the 77,000. Is that just the penalties?
Just penalties.
That
the interest would be on top of that.
Yes.
All right. Okay, sir. What's your reasoning? Why these you shouldn't pay this penalty?
Yes. So first of all, thank you all for taking the time. I do have John Kurzweil, as you mentioned, is as the CFO. Cameron Williams is also with the company on this call, and he's a senior accountant with us. And so just to kind of go back a little bit in time to be the first half of 2019, where we filled out the paperwork to put the correct assets in the correct years. I just wanted to point out that was completed, and instead of the dollar amounts going into one particular year, we put them into the correct year and didn't put them all, for example, into the current year. With total transparency, we provided the information to the group. We were notified that an audit was taking place in February of 2020 for those years that you mentioned. And again, with the auditor, we acted with complete transparency. There were no issues with that audit. Worked with her quickly and efficiently, provided full access to the books and records that were requested. And, we just talked about payment, but we received we were in agreement with the findings. We received the letter. We paid the principal immediately as soon as we could after that, and also sent in the letter of appeal for that $77,000 and change. And so that's really kind of some added color. I just wanted to point out that we've been, completely transparent with the group and worked to get this resolved as quickly as possible. And we're an upstanding citizen, corporate taxpayer, and we want to get it right. And when we had the opportunity to do that, we did, and we've worked with the group, again, with complete transparency.
Well, why weren't these items listed back when they were supposed to be listed?
I was not here at the time, but, what I can say is that when we were able to see any issue, we corrected it immediately and presented that information.
You say, did you find this mistake yourself, or did the county, when they were doing their discovery, they found it?
My understanding is that we found it, and we provided the annual information at the beginning of 2019. I was not with the company at that time, but that information was, to my understanding, completed and provided to the county, again, with the correct information and the correct year to be able to be reviewed there.
Ms. Purdy, is that what happened? Was this?
No, I think the discovery came as a result of the audit. I'm just looking through the findings, and in 2015, they did not file a return at all. And there were a lot of discrepancies whereby they did not report assets for years that they acquired them. So I think we alerted you all of these issues in your filing that you didn't from the discoveries, because this is a long a list of findings from the taxpayer solicitor.
So you discovered it and went to the went to them and say, we need your files because you haven't been listing for taxes. Is that correct?
They sent us the information to the auditors, and when the auditors reviewed their financial information, they found all of these discrepancies and how they listed with the county.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else that that you all want to tell us or present to us?
This is John.
Yes.
I
need to get you sworn in too, sir.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
So the little history on Metabolon, I think will help. The company has been in existence for over 20 years. And back in the 2015 to the 2018 timeframe, there was a lot of upheaval in a financial organization. There were financial changes that have gone on. Since that time, I'm the third CFO to be at the company. By just to note, I am a CPA. I have my CMA, and I take all of the accounting and the records and the retention and the reporting very seriously. When I came in, I found, and even before I came in, the company found that they were lacking in certain areas. We have PricewaterhouseCoopers are our auditors. We changed auditors in I think it was 2017. We were using another firm before that. What we wanted to do was get another level. of transparency into the financials. We went back and cleaned them up, and when it was filed, the data that the auditors looked at, I personally reviewed it and made sure that everything was in the correct years, and it was true, to the best of our knowledge, and corrected the prior year's errors. I think being a citizen in the jurisdiction is important. Durham's is a great county to be part of, and I want to make sure that what we're doing is we're paying our fair share of expenses to help the county that supports us. So, I just want to let you know that the consternation that's been going on inside the company, and we've replaced the corporate controller. Kellen is a CPA, and what we have done is we've upgraded the accounting staff and have a focus on proper record keeping and accounting to make sure that this never happens again. So I think part of it is a cleanup from the historical practices of the company, and we now have the direction to make sure that's right. We've also added, from a board perspective, we've added an independent chair of the audit committee. We also, and he is a prior CFO for Baird and Company. We also have another ex-CFO who's an independent member, no longer part of the private equity group, that is on the audit committee, and Rob Casella, and he's a prior CFO. So, when I came in, we've been cleaning up, and we're putting the processes in place to make sure it doesn't happen in the future.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we need to move on with this.
Okay.
Okay. Let's have any questions from the board? Any discussion? We can't do anything about the interest, and they've already paid presumably the amount. We're talking just about the penalty, which is $77,000. The question for me always comes in: should they have known that they should have paid these taxes? Should they have listed them?
But all the testimony is talking about what they're going to do going forward. The discovery came from the county. They didn't come to the county in any of that cleanup discovery, say, look here, okay, I think this hadn't been listed, et cetera, et cetera. So now I understand now it's all out and open, and going forward, it's going to be moved forward. You got systems in places. Of course, the county did their audit, so I don't see where they acted in anything in terms of if the county didn't come in and do the audit, it probably I don't know if it still would have been reported up to this day. I don't know, but it was initiated by the county, not by them.
Okay. All right. What do the rest of y'all think?
I agree with David.
Okay. Tony, Wendell?
Yeah, I think so too.
Exactly.
All right. Then I'll entertain a motion regarding number 22.
I move that we accept county value.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We just, your company should have known, and if it had reported this when you found out, it would have been one thing. But since the county had to investigate it and find it, we don't really have much sympathy for you. But thank you all for coming.
No, I thank you, and I'm disappointed that our transparency wasn't taken into account. And I wish you all the best and a good Thanksgiving to everybody. Good health and be safe.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Likewise.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. This is Li Ming's Market. And, do we have somebody here for that?
Yes. This is Jim Zhu, CPA of the company. Also represent the Li Ming Global Mart.
Okay. I need to get you sworn in, sir. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I swear.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go back to Miss Purdy, and then we'll come back to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Purdy, what do you have for us on this one?
I have a penalty appeal in the amount of $5,530.28. The penalties were applied to an audit discovery because the taxpayer failed to list all of the costs of their assets, supplies, and they listed their point of sales equipment as computer equipment. Computer equipment has a faster depreciation rate than point of sales, and so they were paying less taxes than what they were supposed to pay. Our recommendation is that the total penalties of $5,530.28 remain on the tax receipts according to North Carolina General Statute 105-312H. And these penalties are for the tax years 2015 through 2018.
So they just listed the wrong category. Is that correct?
The computer equipment, point of sales equipment, but then they also failed to list all of their costs in other categories.
Okay, so that there was both then. Some of it was the wrong category and some they didn't list at all.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, sir, do you have a reason why we should defer this penalty?
Yeah, actually, to my record, the penalty was related to fail to report a working cooler system, the value and also the installation cost total $331,000 is not the POS system. The discovery was in the result of the BPP audit, but according to the North Carolina Department of Revenue statute, personal property consists tangible property that is not permanently affixed to the real property. We contest the auditor's proposal and will present pictures of the cooling system, and we believe the system was permanently affixed to the building, and we could not remove it without taking down the section of roof. After talk to the county, we withstood the auditor's proposal, and we made a decision to comply with the county, and we paid the back taxes from 2015 to 2018. We're here to respectfully request the board allow us to waive the penalty associated with the tax. We have following reasons. We are an honest taxpayer. We always timely paid property tax. We help the local economy by employing around 30 employees in Dwane City. We are a good member of the community. And secondly, to assess the tax related to the issue in a gray area. We had a different interpretation at the time. This is our first audit. If there is a mistake, we made it. We can call this an honest mistake. And finally, we have a comply with the county decision and pay the audit back tax. And we will make sure we will include a cooling system in our all BPP future rendition filings. So based on the above reason and fact, and we respectfully request the board grant us the request of waive the penalty. Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Purdy, was this about a cooler? Is that what they did not report?
It was the cooler and those other assets that I named as well.
Okay, what other assets were there? Oh,
the computer equipment being listed, the point of sales equipment listed as computers and supplies.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, the only thing that they didn't report was the cooler. Is that correct?
That was one of the issues that they thought was real property, but then we did the commercial appraisal, looked at it and deemed that it was not real property, that it was a personal property, and that's included in all of the costs of their assets that were not listed.
All right, so even that one sounds like it was just in the wrong category.
Well, not listed at all because they thought it was real estate.
Okay. All right, board, did you have any questions for either one of these witnesses? What do you all think? You know, it sounds like, again, it's a small business and they look like they just put things in the wrong category.
Yeah.
You know, historically, if we have dealt with that, I'm not saying that we have to, but historically, we pretty much cut the penalty in half for, somebody that's transparent and coming forth in a situation like this. And, I'm in a position, I could be swayed either way with that one. It's not, not like the other case that it was total discovery. So it's a different feel on this one for me.
I think as honest mistakes were made.
Yeah.
What Jeanette and Tony, what do you all think?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the 50% reduction of the penalty.
Okay.
Same.
All right. Somebody make a motion then, please.
I'll move that we reduce the penalty by 50%.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, sir. So we've reduced the penalty to half, but we feel like, it is really your responsibility, and the county did what they were supposed to do, but we are going to, since it is a little confusing, we thought we would reduce it for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let's move on to the next case. This is Spoonflower. And I see that must be Ms. Fagan there. Need to get you sworn in, please, ma'am, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
State your name, please.
Jennifer Fagan.
And you are, what's your association with Spoonflower?
I am the director of finance. I'm an employee of the company.
Employee of the company. Okay. All right. Again, we'll come back to you. We'll hear from Ms. Purdy first. Okay, Ms. Purdy, what do you have for us on this one?
Spoonflower penalties were applied because of an audit discovery. We completed the audit in, actually, it was completed last year, April 18, 2019. However, we received the appeal on the penalties on February 29, 2020, and that came in an email. And the audit discovery years were 2014 through 2018. And the total penalties were $5,686.25. So staff recommends that the penalties be remain on the tax receipts according to North Carolina General Statute 105-312.
So tell me the timing again. You said is April of 19 was when the audit was done?
April 18, 2019. That is correct.
And
I think this is the case.
When was the bill sent to them?
The bills were created, looks like, original bill. And this is a print of the original bill. So I don't see the original bill date on here because I printed this. When we do a discovery, Mr. Smith, 30 days, between 30 and 45 days after the discovery date. So the discovery was done April 18, 2019. They would have received a bill no later than July of 2019.
Well, can they wait that long till February to file their appeal?
For penalties, yes, they can.
Okay, so the timing's okay.
Not value, but penalties, yes.
For penalties, they can. Okay.
Yes.
All right, and you say this was a discovery by the county that they had not paid these taxes?
They had not listed their assets correctly.
What were the assets?
Well, in this particular instance, they did not submit the information. So when you don't submit the requested information, we use the best information that we have on file, and we assess that.
So you still haven't received the actual items that were taxed, information on what they are?
No, because they're statutorily the deadline is over.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Fagan, why should we defer or reduce this penalty?
So actually, a lot of the information that Ms. Purdy was providing was all new to me, only because we were actually contacted in December of 2018 that an auditor was going to come out to do evaluation. We tried to get in touch with them several times to try to coordinate it because we were also supposed to get a letter from the county, which we never received. The auditor was supposed to come out sometime in January of 2019. We never saw the auditor. Nobody ever showed up. We contacted the outside auditing firm. And then the next thing you know, we all of a sudden get a letter that says that we're getting a blanketed 10% assessment, 10% increased assessment because we did not respond. That was the only communication that we got. So we were going back and forth between the outside auditor, as well as trying to get a hold of somebody at the tax collector's office. But I think for a while there was a temporary tax collector and the voicemail was full and we couldn't get through to anybody. So back in February of this year is when we were trying to finally go, we need to figure this out. We got a letter from collections from Durham County stating that the unpaid tax was about to be sent to collections in the amount of $20,000, $21,000 or $22,000, excuse me, which was the increased assessment. We still don't understand how that 10% value was reached. We haven't been able to go back and have any of our questions answered. We contacted the outside auditor again, and they actually said that the auditor in question no longer even works for them. So they weren't able to give us any additional information. Unfortunately, I hate doing this. These are not excuses. The employee who was working on this is no longer with the company. So when the most recent notifications were sent to us, they were sent to an invalid email address. I just got the notification of this hearing just last week. We've since contacted an attorney to try to help us figure out what we have to do in order to try to fix our assessed value.
So, okay, so you're consulting with an attorney about this case that we're talking about?
Not about the penalties, that's something else. It's just the penalties arose from the unpaid portion, the $20,000 of the increased assessed tax, which we didn't agree with. We also didn't get notification of. We never even saw an auditor.
Okay, Ms. Purdy, do you have any information about the auditor, why they didn't come? Or
I have a quick question too, for Ms. Purdy. So that April 18th date, when you say that the discovery was made and the auditor was here, is there any kind of documentation that we can get to possibly try to prove that an auditor was here? Because we've spoken to everybody on staff and nobody ever saw an auditor.
Okay, I didn't say an auditor was there. The audit is dated April 18, 2018. The summary of audit findings states that several communications, letters, and email have been sent since December 18, 2018. The company has not responded to any of the communication sent. Repeated requests were made for support in detail to verify the reported cost of assets on the tax listings. However, no requested information was provided. A 15-day letter was mailed on March 8, 2019, with no response as of April 10, 2019. Therefore, we are forced to assessing 10% of the reported assessed value for tax years 2014 through 2018. I think I may have sent you a copy of this, but they tried on several occasions to get the information. It is our practice to audit accurate information. We'd rather that you send the information in than to have to put an estimated amount on what we think that the value should be. And in this particular case, that's what we did. And even with that, you still have 30 days to appeal. And typically I allow 45. And that was back in April 18, 2019, which is over a year since the original discovery letter went out.
So nobody, to your knowledge, has been out to look at the property?
No.
No. They requested information and no one sent any information. They don't go out unless they can make contact with the contact person.
Ms. Fagan, do you think that was probably they were contacting the former employee? Is that maybe what happened?
That might be possible. I mean, like I said, I have the letters that we received and how many times we tried to reach out to the external auditor to even talk about, look, we can't have you just show up. We need to have somebody here to escort you, to show you all the equipment. like I said, we never got through to anybody. We were leaving messages, trying to reach them in any way that we could, an email address, and they never replied to us. And then all of a sudden we get a notification that tells us that they were here and they've, because there was something in there in the paperwork that actually shows that the audit was done on a certain date. And when we saw that, we said, actually, no, nobody was ever here. So I don't understand how they could have put that they did come through an audit.
Sounds like they didn't audit because they couldn't get in. And Ms. Purdy, would you feel comfortable in waiting on this and sending somebody out to the property or getting the actual information instead of this estimate?
Well, we would, yes, we could redo the audit because that's what we will be doing is to redo the audit. I have no problem with it.
I would feel more comfortable.
We can have them audited again.
I'd feel more comfortable with that because it sounds like there was some miscommunication, and you're willing to provide information now, aren't you, Ms. Fagan?
Absolutely, yes, and we've been filing since. So my question is then, if we get audited again, we're going to do it as we've had some change in assets, so that'll be as of the assets as of now. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. How does that work, Ms. Purdy?
When we audit 5 years in current.
So you have records 5 years back of what?
They would initially they request your first 2 most recent years, and then they take that information back. If they need additional information, they will request it. But we can audit 5 years in current.
Okay, who should Ms. Fagan get in touch with to make sure that you all connect?
I need for her to send me her contact information, and I will send that on to the auditor.
Send it to your email, or how should she get that information?
Send it to my email. I can give her my email address now.
If you would, that would be good.
I would. Thank you.
That's J Purdy.
I have it. Ms. Purdy, I've been communicating with you for the past week or so.
Okay.
All right, and we're putting the burden on you, Ms. Fagan, to make sure that this works out. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
All right, and then I'll entertain a motion to.
I've got a question, David.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what happens to the penalty during that period of time?
Does interest accrue? Is that your question?
I'm just asking you. Okay, they're talking about getting in there so they can see, but still hadn't dealt with the penalty.
I think the penalty is, we haven't made a decision on that. I just want to make sure that the amount of the penalty is correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the penalties are based on an estimated amount of the information. We never got her financial information.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, great. Clear that up. Then it'll come back to us and we'll decide about the penalty at that point.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, I'll entertain a motion regarding, I guess, to continue this case to a further subsequent meeting.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Fagan.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Dwane Family Dentist. Is that you, Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, I'm here to represent them.
Okay. What is your association with the dentists?
I'm a CPA, and I'm with a CPA firm that is their accountant.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll let you testify if you'll raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. Let's state your name again, please. I'm sorry.
Christopher Thompson.
You're the CPA.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you. Okay, Ms. Purdy, what do you have for us on this property?
All right. Dwane Family Dentistry. Taxpayer is appealing the statutory penalty from the audit discovery for tax year 2016. And the penalty appealed is $113.53. They were applied because the taxpayer failed to report some assets that he purchased late in 2015 on their 2016 listing form. So
the penalty is $113?
$113.53.
Okay.
That's what.
Okay. All All right, Mr. Thompson, what's the reason that this penalty should be waived or changed?
Yeah, so we started working with Dr. Goodall in late 2015, early 2016. So that was our first year listing. It was some assets that she had purchased right at the end of the year, but had deferred payments on them. So we actually didn't know anything about it whenever we went to do the listing. We subsequently found that out. Obviously, everything was listed when the tax return was done. And then going forward, that was corrected in the following year and has since been listed since then.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board? Any discussion? I mean, my feeling is only $113. I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, but that seems like that's kind of an absurd thing to appeal. So, any further discussion about number 25? Then I will entertain a motion regarding number 25.
I make a motion we uphold the county's penalty.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson.
All right.
Is anybody here from Agape Lawn? Okay, what do you have for us on that one, Miss Birdie?
All right, Agape Lawn Company. This is well, as you know, it's a penalty. The penalties were applied to the audit discovery because the taxpayer failed to submit all of their tax listings as required by Durham County. And also they reported less cost than they actually had. The penalty amount is $1,321.11. We recommend that the total penalty amount of that $1,321.11 remain on the tax receipts per North Carolina General Statute 105-312H.
Did they give any reason for not wanting this for us to waive this penalty?
They said this letter is to request to waive the penalties from the discovery amount, and they gave the years 14, 15, 16, and 17 found against the business account 854-839. We have made payments for all other charges on this account, and that was their letter.
And that's all they said.
That was in the letter. This is all that they said, yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board? Any discussion? Then I will entertain a motion on number 26.
Move that we uphold the county's position.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, we are done, and we don't meet next week, I think. Is that correct, Sheila?
Yes, December 1st.
We don't meet again until December 1st.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you all. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy.
Always good to see you.
All right, Mr. Williams, invite me over for some of that smoked turkey now.
Mr. Smith, you did a good job.
Thank you all. You all did a good job as usual. We try to be fair to these people.
You are.
All right.
All right, y'all have a good holiday season.
Okay.
You too.
All right.
Bye.